Okay, so welcome. We're doing another Raw Talk with the Divine Masculine, and I've got two special guests as usual. They are amazing. Water Bear Medicine is a coach working with the Divine Masculine and broken and toxic masculine, and Feeling Tarot, who's also on his journey. He's actually done some incredible work as a young man with men who are young men his age and older, believe it or not, who have dealt with some massive trauma, being essayed and abused, and dealing with that, and the journey back to the collective growth of refusing the divide and conquer agenda of the 1%. For a lot of reasons. I hope you guys are thinking this through. And yeah, it's pretty intense. Mark, here we are. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Thank you. Hi. And I've said, I shared with as many people as I could. And so what is the topic today?
So we've got the divine, rising of the divine masculine, and really what's stopping that? How do you get into your most powerful and authentic self? There's too many things that are programming us and triggering us and stopping us from being who we really can be and attracting the partners who want to be in a divine partnership. So, Baron, did you want to add anything to that? I know we mentioned also about, the toxic feminine and the toxic masculine and the different effects that they have on each other. So, Baron, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to add on is one thing that is hindering the divine masculine or the masculine from achieving his divinity is the world, and also in which some of the 3D gender constructs that we have, like men not asking for help, men not needing help, men saying that they're okay when they're not really okay. And that's the hindrance that's really happening when it comes to men, especially when it comes to men even going out and being vulnerable with their own friends, their own male friends who they would put their lives for. And it's really that fear that is keeping men on the loop, going back and forth, and not elevating. And it's just the same continuous loop and loop cycle. So that's what I wanted to add on from your previous.
That's brilliant. And so one of the things that I want to mention right early on is I just want to honor how much, the sacrifices that Tony Sacred Intimacy Tarot has done to kind of raise up this topic in the world and help us to create a space that's going to bring healing for the men out there that have been manipulated and controlled, that have felt separate from the support systems. And so what that leads me on to do is to mention that we are going to be creating regular space that is not live, that will be not on the mainstream media. It won't be advertised or promoted on YouTube. It will simply be a safe space for men to come and get healing, to deeply go into the things that have made them feel separate, so that they can heal the patterns that are blocking them from really believing in themselves and in the ability to find a partner that really loves and wants to be in union. So it's important, if anybody wants to be part of that space, we'll be making a separate, I think we need a separate account for this to support the Divine Masculine. I'll set that up, and we'll probably start doing short lives on that. But the idea is that posts that go on that are specifically for this purpose.
Yes.
I don't know if you agree with that, but I just feel like I'm being called right now to make that statement. So let's hit it off and go through the topics. I think one of the most important things that is really on the top of everybody's tongue is, how do you spot a manipulative woman so that you don't get yourself tainted and controlled and sucked into this kind of toxic trauma loop that ends up with you feeling destroyed, that ends up with you feeling like not masculine and not capable of attracting a mate that you want. Do you want to say some stuff on that before we deep dive in?
Yeah, I did want to say some things on that because the manipulation can run into men basically seeking self approval, like self approval that he's doing good. You know, the nice guy. We did a pre live yesterday. If you guys don't know, we did a pre live yesterday and we discussed on how men can think that they are the nice guy. You know, they're the nice guy, they're the good guy. Well, that's the thing. You become a walking doormat, and she might keep you there, you know, for her own use and stuff like that. But eventually, she's going to just show you the door, and that's it. It's on the way out, and it completely ruins your expectations as a nice guy. Of like, wow, I thought I was going to have a wife, I thought I was going to have kids, or I thought she was going to be the one. And
I'm going to jump in, okay? And I'm going to tell you the female perspective because I think it's important so that you can move on to a more balanced dialogue, in my opinion. Because I'm going to tell it to you from a female point of view, as a woman of strength. Nice guy doesn't mean you're weak. Let's not confuse weakness and the lack of balls with nice guy. When a man is nice, okay, he's nice, but he's dangerous. And what that means is that a man, and this is, I don't even give a shit if you're single, a man has to come off nice, but he has to also come off as, don't fuck with me, because you don't want to know when I go there, and it has to be a vibrant, and I don't mean intimidation. I don't mean, because that's a bullying tactic, that's different. I mean, a man needs to know from another man, this is very similar to dogs, to wolves, there is a pecking order of power. And so what happens with women who are bimbos, right, and women who are also strong, is that they will pick a man. The bad boy is a cliche that's actually toxic and it's been very well sold. It's sold millions of books. It's made authors millions of dollars, but it's a lie. Because a nice guy who's weak is a weak man who happens to be nice. A nice guy who's powerful is powerful who happens to be nice. And we need to make sure we understand that in our growing spiritual community so that people, like, for example, there's a guy called Ari, and many of you know what I'm talking about. He sells ritual oils, the Moringa oil with the art, or whatever the hell. It's called ritual oils, okay? When you look at him talking, he's a nice guy, but you know not to fuck with him because if you come up with him in the wrong way to his woman or to him, you're going to get your ass knocked out. It'll be his last resort, but it'll be the final say. He'll have the final say. And a man like that needs to cultivate that kind of energy. If you guys disagree, feel free to disagree. I don't care. I know that's a truth I really rely on.
well, there's both energies to it. That's the thing. There's a nice guy that is masculine. He knows his worth. He also has, you know, prerequisites. It's his boundaries, you know, and that's what it is. And you don't tread them, or else, as he said previously. And there's also the nice guy where at the same time, he also could not be nice. He could be the nice guy that says, oh, but I'm a nice guy and this and that. And he could be a psycho. Like I meant. So, no, I'm glad you broke it down like that. I did.
Talk about this concept of nice that people keep selling as if a nice guy. And
We can't hear you. We can't hear you very well, Tony.
No, I'm talking about a nice guy who has the power to protect a woman. And this is primal shit. This is, I don't even think women realize it really. That's why they go for the bad guy, because they know the bad boy is going to fucking kick ass and get them out of a situation. And there's this weird idea, and good men, you know, there's the website called the Good Man Project. Some of these, I'm going to be blunt and not politically correct. Some of these guys that are nice, they're nice, but they're simps, and that's why they're nice. They're not nice because they're nice. They're nice because they're weak. Because not to be nice, they could get their ass kicked. So I'm sorry, this is primal conversation here on evolution of protection and how to have children with a powerful man that's going to give you good bloodlines. This is primal shit, okay? We're not talking about, we're talking about we are animals in these bodies. Our souls have come into these 3D bodies with these little 3D brain monkey minds, and we're looking for the best fucking catch to breed. And I'm going to say it like that, to breed, to bear powerful children, healthy children. But we also need to make sure that we bond with the right man who is nice, loving, nurturing, but faithful, also protect. Faithful. Well, yeah, because you want that. And protect. His faithfulness protects you. His faithfulness protects you because now you're not competing. And competing creates a dynamic of feeling unsafe, flight, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, adrenaline.
And that is a problem. And men need to understand that your ability to be monogamous and faithful to your woman makes her feel safe, and she will give you her entire heart, soul, and body. If you fuck around and you're making her feel unsafe, it doesn't matter if you're a nice guy that's powerful, she will bail on you. That's
Yeah.
why. So I just wanted to add all of that. I'm sorry, and I'm
No, I'm glad you added all that. I'm glad you did, because it's just, that's the thing. There's a lot of, the thing that I've had trouble with, and you remember I used to have some of these conversations with you. I used to say, women like bad men, women like dangerous men, women like that's the thing. Like, I meant it in the sense of like, okay, yes, they are strong men, but a lot of the times, like, okay, is he going to be a good father? Is he going to be faithful? If he's going to be loyal? So I'm glad you went down that description. It's just, Mark, what do you have to say from that previous speech?
Yeah, I think we need to just reframe some of these words to more ascended words. So the word dangerous really means protector. And the word, instead of a nice man or a simp, you're really talking about somebody that's capable, that knows his needs, knows his boundaries, and will stand up for them.
Yes.
And basically say, no, I'm not going to put up with that shit, because what that does is that leads us into toxicity. And it's that sort of rising up into the masculine that we're really talking about, because it is too often that in culture, the programming that we're given, that I was given in my childhood, was to people please, was to placate and to try and find the peace. And quite frankly, there is a time and a place for peace, but there is also a time and a place for a man leading in the household and saying, no, that is a dangerous, threatening behavior to our marriage, to our peace, to the union. And if you are going to continue being in that threatening way, then you are making that decision. You are the one flicking the kill switch. And every woman has that choice.
Of course.
To press the kill switch on the relationship, right? Yeah. So it's so important that we understand that the toxic masculinity, and we have switched from toxic femininity to masculinity, which is fine. Let's hit that one first, because it will balance the field and make it easy for us to talk about toxic femininity. The toxic masculinity, we need for women to realize that if somebody is dangerous and cheating, they might be very attractive to you, but they are going to be a very abusive partner. Now, how do you then associate yourself with men that are going to be the protector and the provider and hold the standards that are absolutely needed for a family to have offspring that thrive?
Exactly. Well, I mean,
right? We want offspring that grow in their ability and their understanding of what a good mum is, of what a good dad is, and then they can go out. They have the springboard in their lives, and I can't deny there is huge headwinds from the political landscape affecting financing, housing, etc. I'm not ignoring the reality of our lives, but we have to start with looking at ourselves, finding people who can align together, and then look, you can't do it alone. I don't care what anybody says. You need to find a divine partner that shares your views, that you can build a life with. Time is of the essence, and the way that we have these financial headwinds on us, it doesn't really, you need some finances, but what you need is a partner you can build a life with that is in alignment with you. And this is really the crux of this. I hope you agree with this, Tony and Baron.
No, I totally agree.
No, I totally agree.
Thank you. I totally agree. But what I do, and this is something Baron has talked about, and I think you have too, Mark, about how the pill basically destroyed the hormonal, what is the word? The hormonal ease of finding powerful partners and dealing with simps. In other words, the hormones of what the pill did was make women literally align with simps. Okay, weak men, which are the most dangerous men. They're the ones that are going to abuse you physically, manipulate you at some point, passive aggressive, what is it called? Covert narcissism would be present in situations, which are the most dangerous of all narcissists. By the way, that's clinical truth. So I think that money, the 1% has created a system of money barriers to ensure that marriages would collapse. within a 7 to 10 year window. And this is, and if you talk to people who are working class, whatever you want to call it, for some of them, for many of them, it was a money issue. Some of them drug issue. Some of them cheating issue, which is again trying to escape the world as it is because it's too painful. For the very wealthy, let's not compare ourselves to wealthy people because they're changing lovers like people change socks. So that's not even a connection that we can look at as a prototype, as a blueprint. It's a lose-lose situation. But what I'm going to say is that there is a hormonal. It's like a hormonal and financial component. The financial component we can handle. The hormonal component, women are going to have to be really honest with themselves and say, so I'm on the pill. Is this affecting the way I choose men, partners? And that,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys agree with that or if there's.
No, I agree with that. But the thing is this, like, I mean, there was one girl where, you know, I could tell she was like attracted and this and that. And I remember getting a conversation. Then come to find out she's on the pill. I'm like, okay, she doesn't really find me attractive. I mean, she could be anything. I mean, she could literally get off the pill and that's it. I mean, it's the same with SSRIs. It's the same with these psychiatric medications. Like, as soon as they get off, that's it. That's it. And then it's like, you get home from work and then it's like, oh, she's with some dude and this and that. Like, I've heard stories of this, literally, of women getting off the pill or even getting off.
Women, men too. Men choose, in this case, on the mood pills or whatever, the happy pills people call them, or nothing, anything pills. I think this does connect with that issue, but ultimately the most important issue, because most people would not be on these pills, by the way, on the mood pills, unless they were doing financially well. People are going to talk shit to me and
That's
say,
true.
"Oh, you understand mental health." Mental health,
Whatever, yeah.
average Joe and Jane, is based on poverty and surviving and not being able to choose between eating. I'm not kidding, or paying the electric bill, the cell phone bill. I'm sorry, that will put you eventually into a place of mental, emotional imbalance. We have to get honest with that. And that's impacting people who are out there looking for partners. In fact, that's why so many people are deciding to go single.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I mean, and I've spoken with many people on this. I've spoken with men on this. I've spoken with women on this. And I feel like it's just when the woman changes her mind, let's say in regards to a partner or strays a marriage or a relationship and cheats because, you know, the pill or the happy pills, it's just, again, and you guys have heard me say this many, many, many times. Certainty is security for men. Men do not like uncertainty. They do not like unpredictability. They like plans. They like predictability. They like predicting. That is the whole point. So it's like the reason why a lot of men are also retreating is because, once again, that uncertainty is there. So then the defeatism comes on. And when the defeatism comes on, that's when the depression comes. That's when you're taking pills. That's when you're addicted. That's when, again.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that the game of dating, the player vibe, has run its course.
It is.
We're at the end game of the players because nobody wants to play games. They want to build partnerships. They want to make a life. And
I'm going to give you an example. And just as me as a boomer is saying this, in the 1980s, people were still broke. I don't know why people are playing like everything was better. It wasn't. And I'll tell you why I know. Because first of all my friends lived in four to five people in one house. And houses then were like $800 to $1,200 a month in those days. Number one. Number two, I remember my son's father not wanting to ask me for a date for almost 2 weeks, though he was really interested, because he didn't have the money to take me out on a date. So my point is, there are guys out there that don't have a car, aren't making enough money. Some of them are working 3 jobs. They don't even have time to date. They're barely hitting 4 hours of sleep a day. Okay, that's number. So this all is by design. It's a divide and conquer to keep the population down. People aren't having children. They're not. There are certain people who are having a shitload of children to make up for people who aren't. But what's ironic is that the good...
the anti-natalist movement. Yeah.
But I'm talking about like spiritual people like Mark, like you, like other people who are smart men, smart women, wonderful souls are choosing not to have kids. That's the irony. And if anyone needs to be having kids, it's people like you, because you're the smart ones, you're the spiritual ones. Meanwhile, it's the assholes having kids left and right. I'm being real with this, and I know it's not politically correct, and I don't give a shit. This is what's happening. The good people with a spiritual compass that actually could bring up amazing souls onto this planet are not having it because of the very reason I just shared. Your
Yep.
thoughts, Mark, and
Yeah, so we mentioned how the pill affects
yeah,
what women are attracted to, and then how that changes when they come off the pill. I mean, that's just blows my mind that women are only just finding that out.
Yeah.
And you could have been in a relationship for a few years, decided to have children, come off the pill, and then left your partner because you're no longer attracted to him.
Yeah.
Tragedy, absolute tragedy. And there is so many things going on. When you talked about bad habits and the coping patterns of people ending up in, sex addiction, drug addiction, just porn addiction, whatever it is, and just being totally messing with their ability to focus and align with the best part of their lives. And then you mentioned like the money side of things in the 80s, people not having the money. And I absolutely agree. I think we are going back there at the moment. There is, it may be temporary as much as it was for only a period in the 80s. We must understand that we're in a period of preparation for a new earth. And I mean that in like when we're ready, it will be there for us. But we have to prepare ourselves. We have to get ready in being the best we can be for our future lives, for our new potential partners. It's on us, right? Let's take accountability and responsibility. So important. What do you want to say, Baron?
No, I agree and I started doing your meditations every morning. I wake up, and I used to wake up with, like as soon as waking up, accessing my phone, checking market, checking price, checking jobs and everything, because the money anxiety that a lot of people are feeling right now, especially men, they feel this inadequacy, and it's just, I started putting my phone down. I started just falling asleep and meditating, and 2035 is very blissful, everybody. 2035 is extraordinarily blissful, like the stuff that I've seen during my meditations. And I've been able to meditate into sleep again. So that's a really, really good pro.
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased about that.
Really,
and I absolutely. If people come on the live and want to be part of a group meditation where we spend a bit of time talking about it, and then we meditate for 10 minutes, then we can answer questions afterwards. It really is. It's not just about the meditation. It's about understanding meditation, the practices of it, bringing inner peace as something that you can maintain within you by learning the skills that I will teach you. It will absolutely transform you. If you don't manage to find peace in your meditation, if you're having the monkey mind totally controlling you and never giving you peace, it will be so worth it for you to spend the half an hour with me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great point. I mean, we need to look at that. Also, Canary was saying about physical. I'm going to go with the physical pain aspect, if you don't mind, because the physical pain, when somebody's under a chronic pain, it turns into an emotional pain because you're stuck there. Your body's not doing what it's supposed to do. And how does that affect, unions? Well, I mean, obviously, it affects everything because in unions, again, we're not a very empathic people as a whole. Many of us are, don't get me wrong, but many of us are not. In fact, the majority.
Yes.
And I'll explain what I mean. When a woman, and this is not to blame, I'm going to tell you something that blew my mind. You're telling me to share this. So I was at the USC Breast Cancer Symposium, and most stories that I heard were men leaving women who were getting a single or a double mastectomy. So that's very
holy shit.
And they were leaving them. And somebody asked me, do lesbians leave their partners? It was like a mic drop. What the fuck? Do lesbians leave their partners? What is the difference between that attitude and the feminine on same gender, right? Same love gender. And the answer I got, and I'm not saying that's true across the board, but the answer I got was no, they don't. Whereas because of the 100 years, or I'd say 150 years of manipulation through porn to teach men that beauty is a woman's breast, for example. Why am I bringing that up? Because we are not getting enough understanding of what is true intimacy, and being attracted to someone's physical appearance has nothing to do with true, loving, fulfilling intimacy. Chronic pain, a woman who's in chronic pain, or a man, if they are being held and touched and hugged, eventually the nervous system is going to relax, because when you're in chronic pain, everything is in high stress and tensed up, and you're going to have someone who is actually going to, little by little, drop by drop, heal. If they get hugged, held. There are people in England, I know this for a fact, and other parts of the world like Thailand, Bali, whatever, who actually offer an hour of just being held. It's not sexual at all. It's completely platonic, of just being held. I tell my clients who are celibate to get massages minimum once a month, minimum. So chronic pain, and I'm surfacing it, Canary, because we don't have time to go into, not today, into how chronic pain and all of that. But ultimately, the truth of it is that when somebody is going through some kind of disease or injury, I can say that there's been amazing men, gorgeous men, fabulous men, successfully, financially successful men, spiritually as well, who have had women who came to them with double mastectomies, childbearing years in those times, and married those women, chosen those women above all men, all women that are supposedly, acceptable by the bikini community or the Playboy Mansion penthouse toxicity of what is termed beautiful. There are wonderful men out there, okay, that could have their pick of women. Believe me, they're not ugly looking like Quasimodo. These are gorgeous men I've seen who could pick any fucking chick he wants. I'm thinking of one particular guy who was like 6'4", married this wonderful woman in Canada with red short hair. She got through massive surgeries, double mastectomy, and they had a baby, and they were madly in love. So men out there when men are fantastic, they're fucking, there's nothing like it.
They're amazing.
They're amazing. And what I'm finding, I wanted to just add.
No, that's fine. I wanted to jump in and just add a couple of scientific facts that back up what you say, so that if anybody's like not 100% convinced that physical touch is important, and when you are held as a baby, what bonds you is the hormone oxytocin, which your body releases from, like, basically it's the heart vibrations being near each other. It releases the oxytocin energy. Now you can do that through meditation. So once you learn how to activate oxytocin release in meditation, you can do that. But human touch doesn't require the skill of meditation.
Right.
Yeah, no.
So I think it's so important.
There's also one thing I wanted to add. I had no clue this. Apparently, there's something called touch starvation, and scientists have been doing, endocrinologists have been doing tests on cortisol levels within men, and I had no clue. But apparently, with touch starvation, lonely men, being lonely as a man and being touch starved, is an equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes a day. I'm like, Jesus. That's also something I wanted to add on, because again, in regards to massage.
Well, I mean, this is something my beautiful beloved would say to his single men friends who are in their 70s is, don't buy a go get yourself a massage. And because the massage is, and I experienced this because when I was in separation with my beloved, I had a friend who was incredibly gifted as a masseuse, and she said, can we trade a 90-minute massage for a reading? And I said, yeah. I got off her table. I thought like the world was rose, pink colored rose. It blew my mind how her hands were able to completely dissolve all this pain. I mean, we talk about Canary. You need to look at Reginald Ray on somatic healing. I'm not joking. You should be. I'll send you a link when we get off this thing. But my point to you is that physical pain. I'm not saying for you it's psychosomatic, but when it is psychosomatic, when there is inflammation, when there is the big C, sure, there's a parasitical link and all of that. Okay, well, I'll agree with that. but there is also the lack of intimacy and touch. We as human beings cannot survive with 2-minute touches. Now, and you can't do a 2-minute touch with your child or a friend because it's a little too long. You know, it's usually a hug that lasts maybe 10 seconds. That's not enough. That's why when you do a forehead kiss and you really lay your lips on your beloved's forehead and it lasts for maybe a good 60 seconds, the value of that healing moment can't be quantified. You can't put a number to the healing that it gives human beings. So there's a multiple things happening with the fuckery of the 1%. One is gender wars. Two is the training children at 12 and 13 to be completely fucking confused over what gender they are and who they want to have sex with, because no one's willing. Again, I had an example of that yesterday, standing in line with your basic country bumpkin type of people. Good people, don't get me wrong, but unwilling to have real conversation with their teenage kids to help them excavate out of these confusions, okay? But ultimately, what happens is when you have these confusions, these gender wars, we're going to have celibates, we're going to have incels, involuntary celibate men and women. But we're also going to have wonderful people who say, fuck the dating world right now, let me get my shit together, and who voluntarily become celibate. And now the touch, the human touch, is gone. I mean, it is.
It is.
Unless you say to yourself once a month, and trust me, if I could do it myself, we live in the middle of fucking nowhere, that's the only bad thing. But once a month, go and do that. The other thing I'm being shown is if you can't do the massage, do the swimming. Because as you swim through the water, your whole system, your whole nervous system, which is your skin, is being touched by the water. That is a healing touch. It's the water, and you're made of water. I just got that download as an option. Swimming or massages. If you're going to be... What are your thoughts, both of you? And I'm sorry, I'm going to leave you guys alone. I'm not going to talk anymore.
Yeah, I agree on that area. I mean, it's when I used to swim, actually. I used to swim. I used to always be happy. I mean, it wasn't the same as running. Like with running, I'd be dehydrated and stuff, but with swimming, I wasn't. It felt this like rejuvenated sense. I mean, that's what it felt like when I got out of the pool and felt the sun. It was a good feeling. So it coincides with that, definitely.
I have some great memories of every time that I go swim in the sea, and it does feel like I'm being touched by the universe. You know, it's almost like the love of God is in the water, and that is what I'm being touched by. So that absolutely resonates. Really good download there, Tony.
Thank you, Laura. So any questions? You guys have two wonderful masculines, completely different generations that are here for you. Any questions that you want to ask? Canary, that was a great question. And I wish we could go more into it, but we can't, because what you're going through, it's a massive question that would take on its own show. Let me just say that. Anything else on that subject? So if you're voluntarily, we agree, right? If you're voluntarily being celibate, if you're not voluntarily being celibate, get a fucking massage and go swimming. You know, go swimming. Even in the swimming pool, go ahead and do a
I was gonna interject on one thing, but it's definitely for Telegram. It's definitely not for here. That's
okay. I appreciate that. Be careful. I feel this. I'm being embraced when I feel the wind breeze on my skin. Yeah, laying out nude is another way, and I mean nude, bare ass fucking naked. Fuck the swimsuit. Absolutely, because it is polyester. It's lycra. It's between your legs. It's on your breast. If you're a man, it's between your legs. Take it off. Put your root chakra into the sun. Literally point and literally bend your knees as if you're going to do a thrust, hip thrust, and feel that energy going, and open your thighs so that you get this amazing heat in between your legs for about 10 to 15 minutes. It boosts testosterone. Men, this is known. Yep. This is actually...
Yeah, this is known.
Yeah.
So I do an infrared sauna. I do an infrared sauna, not every day, but like 4 times a week. And absolutely, that is definitely part of the benefit. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what we're looking to do is, because there's so many masculine, in fact, I'm going to bring this up. I think I sent you the link, Mark. There's a masculine that's talking about how he's a meta flame. I need to bring that up. please don't get grateful for the false prophets. And this sounds very arrogant coming from me, because what am I saying here? Well, I'm saying I'm the answer, but they're not, and I know what it sounds like. But what the fuck am I going to do? This is the only way I can say it. Some of us have the answer. Some people are playing like they have the answer, and there's an arrogance, and they're dangerous. So there are men out there who are playing the Buddha bun, kumbaya, mantra, whatever bullshit, and they're full of shit.
Aubrey
And
Marcus.
they got their little Australian accents and Irish accents and this accent and that accent, or no accent, New York accent, whatever, and they're playing this game. Please read between the lines, because I'm seeing people popping up who want to get on the money-making bandwagon. Trust me, I'm not rich doing this kind of work at all, because there are a lot of people like me. My shamans are not rich women, okay? Because they make sure it's cost effective. When they dispense, I'm not going to say it, but you get what I'm saying. Being shaman, they are not becoming rich, and that's not to say don't become rich, but they're not trying to gouge people's innocence, naivete, pain, depression, vulnerabilities. They're not. In fact, some of us are not. In fact, some of us are giving massive. Like, if there's somebody like. Some of us have worked with homeless people who clearly didn't have money, right? So there was no charge.
I do wanted to actually interject, is to be careful on false prophets. It's just, there's many of them. There's masculine ones that basically catch men's depression.
Can we get an example, or can we give people guidance? I mean, is it about, like, ask questions, make sure that you know that they know what they're talking about?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, perfect. Andrew Tate, perfect. I mean, it's a man who basically makes money off of men who are depressed, and there's also women who do it as well. I mean, they feed off of it.
Well, I was going to talk about the twin flame thing. There's a man.
Yep, you were talking about twin flames, and you said there was a man.
Yeah, there was a man who basically, well, there's a few people who were saying that. One man was saying, I've put 5,000 twin flames into union. Massive red flag. There's another twin flame. It's a feminine. I'm not going to say her name at all, but she lives in Europe, and she's an American in Europe. And that's as much as I'll say. She's only seen her twin flame twice. She's never lived with her twin. She's never been in union with a twin. When I mean union, I mean talking for a year. I mean living together for getaway weekends together. But for me, the minimum of being a coach is you're living with your twin, you're in union with your twin, or you've been in union with your twin. And there are twin flames. One guy's called Remy. He was in union with his twin, living with his twin for about, I'd say, almost 8 years. And they've been in separation, to your point, Celtic Canary, because his beloved got sick. And for some reason, her getting sick made her run from him. I don't know why. I don't know the details, and he hasn't gone into it. But the point is, if anyone can coach a twin flame, it's him. If anyone can coach a twin flame, I'm going to say it straight up, it's me. I've been in union and in and out since I was 18 with my twin, and I was there when he died. I was taking care of him for the last 9 months of his life. So my point is that I've walked it. But what I will never say is I've gone through everything in a twin flame journey, because I never had children with him. So clearly, I haven't gone through every aspect. And there are people saying that they know everything about it. No one can know everything about it. It's that nuanced. And so be careful of false prophets. Be careful of men who are going to tell you how to find your twin and be in union. Be careful of women who promise the same. You can't promise that. You can't, because there's free will. And so as we progress, one of the reasons why Mark and Baron and men like them are so important is they're going to be helping men who are either twin flame runners or starseeds and going through the first leg of their ascension, and they're in pain and they don't know why. They don't know why they're in pain. They don't know what this whole spiritual mumbo jumbo means. And that's why we need sacred divine masculines who are walking into their light to help other sacred masculines, because that will help the sacred feminine. Okay? So that also they don't get into, I don't care if it's a twin flame, if a man's in love with a woman who's full of shit, toxic, and self-destructive, It's like, Liz, I love you. You're the love of my life, but goodbye. I'll see you in the next fucking flip of the moon. I'm not doing this with you. Not in this incarnation. You're too fucked.
Yep.
And that's a twin flame truth that people need to wrap their head around. Sometimes it's saying, I'm done. In this life,
And it hurts.
So what are your last thoughts?
It hurts. It really hurts. I had to do that with my work crush, literally. She just wasn't there. She wasn't there spiritually. And boy, did it fucking hurt. Seriously. It's...
Mark, what do you
We can't. Yeah, we can't be waiting forever for somebody to grow and heal. That's not the path. The path is carry on with your growth, with your lessons, with your loving, with your creations, with your divine purpose. And when, if ever, people are ready to come into union, then let it be divinely guided. Don't be in this delusion of waiting forever, because that is not the path.
No, it's not the path. It was never the path. That's the point. It was never the path. Maybe towards the end of your twin's life, you will get a call, or you will get a call to call them, and they're on their deathbed. And this is the day where you say goodbye with love and say, look, whatever you do, don't come back, forgive yourself. You do all the things you need to do as the final bon voyage, but it's a temporary bon voyage. It's in other words, they couldn't do it in this body. They couldn't do it in this incarnation. It's not a failure. It's they couldn't, but now you can continue the relationship from them no longer being in the body, for example.
I mean, Tony, it could be childhood abuse. It could be, situations that they've been through early in their life that created such lack of trust that they couldn't open their heart. They couldn't get past the pain that was stopping them from getting into that right level of connection with you. And sometimes you just have to love people from the distance and let them move on.
God, that's hard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the hardest part, right? To have the compassion, to have the compassion for yourself and others, to realize that you're just hurting yourself by waiting and continuing. I think we should segue. I don't know how much more time you've got before you have to go, Tony. I know you're busy.
5 minutes.
Yeah. So after 5 minutes, if Baron and I we'll probably go live together. But if Baron's not available, then it may just be me. But I wanted to talk about you mentioned before about a specific example of how a man had been manipulated by a woman and the effects that it had. And we promised ourselves for 3 lives so far to talk about it. Let's spend the next 5 minutes on that.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Yes, it's in regards to Anthony Bourdain. Just briefly for the next minute, explain what happened to Anthony Bourdain. What was the beginning, middle, and end of his relationship like? What happened?
Anthony Bourdain, he did an episode that was in Italy on Parts Unknown, and he met Asia Argento, and the chemistry just completely got hit off immediately. I mean, I could tell he was really into her and stuff, and I've been watching videos of them two together. Also, just been reciting old posts. And his last message was him actually asking her for help, and she completely wrote him off. And that was the one time that he might have actually. Maybe there was other times. I don't know. That's their relationship, but he went to her in the most dire need. 6 hours later, he was not alive anymore. He did what he did. And they found him in a hotel in France, in Strasbourg. So it's just, that's the thing. And the kind of woman that she was, she would go out, she would be with multiple men, she would bring these men back. And I feel like Anthony, he was really hurting. He was really, really hurting inside. And I could see it in some of the videos that were more recent to his passing. And it actually made me cry because, I mean, I could just slowly see the joy just leaving his eyes when he was around her in those videos.
And what was it? Do you feel that for him it was the lack of his awareness that she was being manipulative, or
it wasn't just that. It wasn't just the lack of awareness. It's just he was asking for help. I mean, he saw some things. I mean, let's be real. I mean, you go into the establishment.
Well, let me jump in just real quick because I love this conversation. We'll go into because this is an important conversation. I'm going to say that, first of all, her father is involved in the 1 percentile agenda.
Yep.
I'm going to say that they're involved in the black and red, and I hope you understand what I mean by red witchcraft, red thing. David, I talked about that, and I'm going to say that she, because of the way she was raised, which was massively inappropriate by her father, sexualizing her as a, I'm just going to say, you got that, and so that she became a narcissist because when you are abused, you actually split. You just split. So what he got was an overtly sexual, which she is what they call, I forgot what the fuck the term is, but they're highly sexualized. They use their bodies. They're incredible lovers. In fact, it's a craft to reel you in. And they're called overt narcissists. They're charismatic.
Yeah.
They're great in bed. They're actually watching you while they're actually analyzing what sets you off. They go and draw all that information out of you. They're always available. They love bomb you. That's the term, love bombing. So she love bombed this man, Anthony Bourdain. And there's a lot of people that have said, oh, conspiracy. Somebody's no.
Baron, what was her name?
Agio Argento.
Ferreira?
Agio Argento.
Agio Argento, that's it. Yeah.
And so when people talk about the dark feminine, we're talking about the black feminine.
Yeah.
We're talking about fucking pure ass evil. And if you look at her pictures, you have no doubt the bitch was fucking evil. But the thing is that they're so good in bed. It's a craft. It's a skill set. They do shit that, and they ask you what's your fantasy with and then they give it to you.
Oh, they always do that.
And they blow your mind. They blow your mind, and they own you. At that point, they own you. At that point, then they discard you, and that can actually create a person to take their own lives. And I did a reading. I'm a tarot reader in case you guys are new to me. And I did a reading because I loved Anthony Bourdain. I loved him when my son was 3 years old. I read his book Kitchen Comp. I loved this man. And so I did a reading one day because I didn't really want to know. He did it himself. He did take himself out. And the part of the reason also was not just that this bitch had done what she did, but it was also the fact that he was traveling the world.
He was heartbroken.
He commented, I was very political. He said, if I everywhere I go, I see Henry Kissinger's mark on how he's fucked these countries. He said, if I saw him right now, I'd punch him in the face. So not only was he fucked over by what he thought was the final love of his life, but he got fucked over and hurt by the state of the planet and how it was being run by the 1%. And that was a collision course to him saying, I'm out, I'm done. And he did. He actually did. I saw it in my read. I was in shock. I went, holy fuck, he actually did it. No one did it for him. He did it.
I don't want anybody to be nervous, but I don't have any ideations. But yeah, I feel like that sometimes. Literally, it's just like Jesus Christ. It becomes too much.
It can be too much, especially the kind of when he went. Remember Anthony Bourdain, the one who said everything's made in China except courage. That's made in Palestine. The guy saw.
That's amazing.
That you guys will never see, that I will never see. Thank God, I don't want to see it because I know enough to be horrified. But he saw it front and center. He saw shit people aren't supposed to see. And what I'm going to say.
We need to go on. I want to let you finish.
I want to know what you have to say, Mark, about what people romanticize as a black cat, because she would go on the term black cat, and why we are using these terms to uplift or denigrate. Where we're denigrating the golden retriever, which women are doing that with men, and we're romanticizing this. Called be a black cat, be a black. You mean be an asshole? Because that's what you're saying. You said be an asshole. So I want to ask you what you think men can do to save themselves from going down the rabbit hole of these kinds of women who are toxically dangerous and can destroy men and have destroyed men, entire families.
I will tell you that every single red flag, bit of past history and sign that is going to lead you to the enlightenment and awareness of who someone is happens over time. The safety and trust that you're looking for cannot be earned in a weekend. You need to spend months deciding on whether this is somebody that you're going to fully give your heart to. Mm-hmm. You need to allow them to fall in love with you as well. And you need to meet their friends and their family. You need to understand their past. I'm not trying to make it like an exam. But if you were going for a job interview, you'd research the company you were working for before you want to get a job for them. The person who's employing you for a job is going to want to see your CV and know your background. But we don't have a CV for relationships. But I think we bloody well should. And ultimately, what it comes from is time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, I'm gonna be honest. Like a lot of times when it comes to men, because I mean, let's be real. We produce, especially at my age of 25, we produce as much testosterone as a Formula One car. So it's like time, patience. It's like no, like it's like we feel these things.
So the thing that you have to do is learn how to hold it, and that becomes it's possible through your discernment and your discipline, and that will come through physical exertion, through meditation, through mental discipline, and these are things that Zen Buddhist monks learn as a skill and carry and they carry it through their whole lives. And if they can do it, if they can have that level of skill and awareness, we owe it to ourselves, to our future children, to make sure that we can be the father that they deserve, right? And that's what I'm talking about. The partner that your partner deserves and the father that your children deserve.
Yep.
I love that. That's beautiful. Any last words? And we'll be more apt to have. We're going to probably bring this live back into Thursdays. Or I'd love a vote right now of when you want to see these beautiful divine masculines come back on on this channel. When would be good? Could you guys type in a day that would be good? Is Thursday good? Is Friday good? And can we do it in the afternoon, like 2 or 3 o'clock? Because our beautiful divine brother is in the UK, so he can't be up at midnight, or 1 o'clock in the morning. So can you guys right now type, when would you like to see us on a live? When would be convenient? I'm asking you guys, can you type up Saturday?
Yeah, I mean,
Thursday.
For me, like right now, it is 7 o'clock. I could go all the way till 10 p.m. even on a Thursday. So that would be like up till about 5 p.m. for you guys in America, wouldn't it?
Okay. So we're trying to figure it out. So if you guys are really listening to me, I'm asking you, when would be a good day? Because we're trying to figure out right now. The weekends, unfortunately, it looks like the weekends are going to be taken. Because of other wonderful experiences that are being brought to us, and we're hoping that we'll be in Europe soon. But what I'm going to say to you guys is that we need you guys to share this live with, in other words, the video. I will upload it, go on my YouTube page. I'm going to link Water Bear Medicines, and I need to send them. I forgot to send you all these videos. It's like it's a big shit. I got to send them to you through WeTransfer, but it's so big. But my point is, we want you guys to support this. I'm supposed to be the female voice, and that's my job in dialogues, right? But Mark and Baron are the masculine voice saying, this is what we need, this is what we are going through, these are the men that are going through X, Y, and Z, and it's not to trigger you females, it's for you to fucking listen to that point of view. And then also, I'm the female voice going, hold up, as a woman, this is triggering me. Explain it to me in a different way so that it doesn't trigger me, because I know what triggers women. Go ahead.
So I was just going to mention that the Cosmic Canary says weekend anytime or after 6 p.m. USA, California. Is that
Red Mama Yeti said Monday or Thursday are good.
Well, yeah. So I mean Thursday from 9 p.m. till 10, so 9 till 10 p.m. in the UK time is going to be. I think that's going to be 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. New York time.
In that case, we could actually still do Saturday then. If Saturday seems good, your Mama Yeti's on it's Saturday. If we did, say, 10 p.m. your time, 5 p.m. our time, or 6 p.m. our time, you're 4 hours ahead, that would be 9 p.m. your time. I'm
definitely going to be doing a general discussion live, and hopefully Baron can join me on that whenever he's around. But the key is right now, it's about when do we bring our group discussion together So
Yeah.
you just have to decide right now for yourself, Tony. Like I can't
Well, I
decide
think
for you.
no. I mean, I think what we should do is just try out Thursday at 9, so people are home.
Okay.
That's 9 your
Yep.
time, 5 o'clock our
Yep.
time, and then we can
Yep.
also do Saturday 9 your time or 10 p.m. your time if that's okay. And then just go and see which one's the most popular one, so people can actually join it. You
Yeah.
know?
And obviously, the time will change at some point, and 5 p.m. United States time will actually be 10 p.m. UK time. But I'll honour that for a couple of weeks if it starts becoming really busy. Still, let's keep the momentum going
Yeah.
if people are into it.
I think it's important, don't you? I mean,
Yeah.
all of you that are watching this, please tap the screen or write a comment that says this is important to you. Is this important to you? These kinds of talks, because we're not doing it for our health. Trust me, we're not getting anything out of it. Okay,
And I have
we're
been
doing it
looking.
for the
I've been
greater good.
very. Oh, I just wanted to say before we end,
Sorry.
it's just I've been trying so hard. I mean, I've been looking for like vetting out another divine masculine or a man who's willing to come on. So I've definitely been doing my due diligence, messaging, seeing perspectives in some of the men I've messaged and tried
Yes,
contacting. So
yeah,
yep,
as a
as a
guest.
guest. Yep.
As a guest, and like a one-time guest type of situation, not on a regular basis. The regular
Yeah.
basis is what we're doing now, because, and again, we're going to be moving it also to YouTube, and the YouTube purpose is to get more down in the weeds. And Water Bear Medicine was talking about getting us into Telegram. We really,
Yeah.
with
Telegram
the
is where
masculine
it's going
group,
to be deep.
very deep. It's going to go into massive details as to what is, and I think women should be invited in that at least once, only because women need to hear men saying this has happened to me.
Yeah.
There's things I can't even say right now that would really help you out as women to understand. I remember. Let me leave you with this. This is important. Thank you for saying this is important. Thank you. I remember there were letters of read out loud by women. It was a video or documentary, a short little 20-minute, and they were reading letters of abuse, essayed abuse. Okay, and then reading it out loud, and then the person filming or whatever was saying, "Would you like to meet the person who wrote the letter?" Now, all of these women thought it'd be a woman coming out. All of the people coming out were men. All of them. And not only were the
Yeah.
women shell shocked, but they started sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And they were being held by the man who had written that letter about his experience as a little child going through that. I don't know why women don't understand that what happened to you has happened to a lot of men. And that is
Yeah.
affecting the root chakra. It's impacting your ability to have sacred intimacies. And I'm going to say straight out, and these religions, fuck these religions. These religions are
Yeah.
ruining people, and they have ruined people for over 2,000 years. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. So,
Yeah. What do religions do for the majority of the patrons that go? They feel invalidated about their experiences. They don't get the support they want, and they're constantly trying to suppress their emotions and just flagellate themselves and never really develop any discernment over new behavior. There are exceptions, but there's a huge amount of gaslighting going on,
right.
and it's not a safe environment for men to get support and for people to generally grow and heal. It's not that, but that is not the space for you. It's a
No,
great
it's
place to
not.
go to meditate or pray, but that's it. That's the thing.
That's it. I mean, I will even ask advice from these people. I mean, I've been in the clergy. I've been to the confession box before. I mean, some of the hypocrisies from some of these priests, it's insane. But, like, that's the thing. When it comes to a lot of the people are actually leaving these religions. They're leaving the Christian church. They're leaving this. I don't
There
know how to
is.
say it.
I did.
Hold on.
I did
They're
go. I
leaving
did go.
religion. They're
Yeah.
leaving religion, and when they do
Yeah,
that,
there are
that's
a lot.
insane. This is a lot of people are now starting to actually explore. Unfortunately, there are some charlatans, but New Age spirituality, they are starting to actually experiment and see that. Some of the people are actually starting to delve in. I've seen people literally put ex-Christian, ex-Muslim, ex-Jew, like literally, like and they're spiritualists now. So that's what I'm saying. The great divergence is happening right now. A lot of the patriarchs from the church are actually leaving the church, and these would be perfect to teach.
And Baron, let's just have a little bit of some accountability here. Like, I was a 10-year practicing Catholic, and the only time I ever really felt connection, to God was when I went on a pilgrimage to Medjugorje, which is in Bosnia. And there was something about that place that just had peace. It oozed out everywhere. And the priests that were there, the majority of them, they seemed to be on a different vibration. It was a completely different experience than anything else I've ever encountered. And so the point I'm making is that it's more about who you vibe with, who you feel safe with, and not about the faith or the religion in its kind of I don't know how to explain it. Like the way that it's put across to us is that they are the authority and we should follow them. And I think that's changed. What we need is guides we feel safe and can trust and then can build a relationship with. They're the ones that are going to help us grow and heal.
Yeah, it gets rid of the hierarchy that's based within religion. So that's, I agree.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's what we're coming to, and I think that's what they're afraid of. But but while you're saying there's a divergence and a release, and a lot of people are leaving, a lot of people are holding a strong, tight-fisted grip on, and they're using the fear of going to hell.
Of course.
I'm talking about all religions, okay? When I say hell, I don't mean Catholicism. I mean all these religions. I'm having a real problem with some of them because the minute you shame a gay person, you're on my shit list, period. I don't give a fuck what religion you're in. The minute you shame a gay person, you're on my shit list for life. There's nothing. The minute you expound celibacy and you force it on human beings who are not made to be celibate in that way, unless they want to be. There's a difference between wanting to be celibate and forced being, literally blackmailed into celibacy. So for me, and I'm coming out of the closet, if you will, and basically saying, love your religion if you want. Give yourself plenty of breath and room. Don't buy into the rhetoric and the bullshit that has been used to control by fear, people. But if you want to pray to Mary or Jesus, which I do, good. But don't do it under this old, dusty, toxic matriarchy and patriarchy. Last words, guys. Last words.
Yeah. One last thing before I just wanted to say, let them drown out. I mean, they want to have a tight fist. They want to hold on. Let them. I mean, again, it comes to walking away, knowing when to walk away. You can't change some of these people. Let the voices drown out. Let the sound drown out. The frequency and the vibration of the universe will completely drown them out to where you can't even hear them. You don't even know you're there. They're there. That's the truth. So let them. Some of them will let go. Some of them might not. Some of them will even be kicked off by that very set and so religion, literally. And then they find their path on their own.
It's so interesting, Baron. What you're really alluding to there is that when the peaceful organization of independent groups no longer resonate with the traditional way of life, the freedom becomes the new way, and that attracts everybody to that new way. And it can happen in the most invisible way until all of a sudden that is just the way.
Yep, and I think of a butterfly, freedom, a butterfly. That's how I think of it. That's how I think of it. Thank you, really, thank you.
So I just want to say tomorrow I'll be doing a meditation, and then it'll follow a chat. And Baron, let's say 2 p.m. United States time.
Yep. Yeah. And next time.
10 a.m. United States time, which will be, which will be, is that 3? Yeah. At the moment it's 2 p.m. UK time, isn't it? That will be 2 p.m. UK time.
Yep. And we're not going to do the boxing. We're going to be doing okay.
Yeah, I'll put up a post and we can do a duet, and then afterwards I'll switch it to like a chat group, and then other people can join in once we've finished. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today's live stream.
Thank you. I'm so honored. I love you both. Thank you for being Thank you for giving all of us hope. All
All right,
right.
we need.
Sending much love, all of you. This will be uploaded on YouTube. If you've missed any one of them, you'll see the title Raw Talk with DMs, and that's what you look for. All right. Sending you much love. Namaste. Be well. Bye bye.